Hey, we are talking about how to prevent vaginal tearing in childbirth today. I'm Annabelle, RN, BSN, birth doula, and mama, and I'm so excited to be talking to you about birth and how to build your confidence in birth. If you're interested in a natural birth, I've got my workbook below. Go ahead and go down in the description and check that out after this video. I think it will give you so much confidence as you pursue natural birth. So we're talking about vaginal tearing, and I really want to clarify what exactly that means and what all the talk is about and what the scare is about. So vaginal tearing is actually the tearing of perineal tissue in the process of birthing your baby. So there is a small amount of tissue between your vagina and your rectum, so your butthole essentially. And that tissue is pretty thin and it can be very fragile, but it's also very strong at the same time. It's meant to stretch. You are created to do this. Your body is capable of birthing your baby. And so there are some things that we're gonna do to prevent that small amount of tissue from tearing as you are actually birthing your baby. And that's the thing, is that tissue usually tears for moms as the baby is crowning. And that means that as the baby's head is coming down and out the birth canal and out of the vagina, and a small part of the head, but it's actually the largest part of baby's head, starts to come out of the vagina. And the vagina actually encircles the head like a crown. So we call that crowning when the head is first coming out. And that is when tissue usually tears because, as I said, it's the biggest part of your baby's head. And that tissue usually, for first-time moms, has never stretched that much before. And so that brings up the question, do all first-time moms tear? And the answer is no. Not every first-time mom is going to tear. It does happen pretty commonly, and that's why a lot of moms are fearful of it, because they hear all their friends saying, yeah, I tore. And you're thinking, okay, does that mean that I'm going to tear? I have to tear? Is there any way to prevent it? And there is, so we're gonna talk about that. The other thing is that there is a severity of a tear. So there is first degree tear, which is hardly a tear at all. It's just a little bit of the tissue coming apart, and usually the doctor or the healthcare provider doesn't even put a stitch into that perineum. It will heal on its own. Vaginal tissue is great at healing on its own. So first degree, not usually a suture put in. Second degree tears are the most common, especially for first-time moms. So second degree is a little bit more severe than the first degree, and the doctor or your midwife, healthcare provider will usually put in a couple sutures, some stitches in that area. They're dissolvable stitches, and they just close that tissue, and then your tissue can heal, and then the sutures will dissolve over a couple weeks. Third and fourth degree tears are much more severe, and these are usually what happen in assisted delivery. So if mom had to have forceps used for delivery or vacuum, or if the baby was just very large, or it was a very traumatic birth. It was a very quick birth where the baby just came out like a rocket. So those tears are much more severe. And if you have that tear, your doctor will talk to you about how to help that tissue heal and how to repair those muscles as well. But, well, as I said, not every mom's going to tear, so we're going to talk about how to prevent it. A lot of moms ask, okay, if I might tear and, the doctor is aware of that, is an episiotomy a way to prevent a more severe tear? And the answer is no. Episiotomies, meaning that the doctor or midwife purposefully put a little cut in your perineum before baby crowns. Will that prevent a more severe tear? And like I said, the answer is no. They were done historically because doctors thought that. They thought, okay, if we can put a little cut in, then the tissue's already cut in a very straight line. We can repair it very easily, put some sutures in that straight line, and mom will be good to go. But what they have found is that, for one, when episiotomies are done on mom, that tissue, for one, will tear more easily. So I'm gonna show you on a piece of paper, tensile strength. That's what we talk about when we talk about your tissue and how strong it is and how able it is to tear. So your tissue has a certain amount of strength that when I pull, is it going to tear? Maybe not. It's pretty strong. Whereas if the doctor or midwife or whoever your healthcare provider is put a nice clean cut in your tissue and baby starts to come through and crown, it tears very easily. So these moms historically were tearing more than was expected, and they didn't like that. Secondly, like I said, it's a very straight line that is cut. So it's easy to repair surgically with sutures, but moms weren't well. And in the postpartum period, they were actually more likely to tear again, for that area to come undone. And that's not good. We want the tissue to be sutured and then heal and be very strong again. So, moms that were allowed to tear naturally, the lines were a little bit more jagged. Now, this is microscopic, so my lines are going to be very dramatic, but I want to show you. The very jagged lines, when they heal, they're sutured and then they heal, they have a very strong bond. This is how all of our body works. If you cut yourself anywhere on your body, there's usually some jagged lines. And then when it heals, it has a very strong grip so that it will not come undone again just when you put stress on your perineal area by sitting or working out or whatever. So we want more of those jagged lines. It's much healthier for mom. So let's actually talk about how to prevent or minimize any tear during your pushing process. And that's the thing, like we said, it's usually when baby's head starts to crown. And so we want to talk about how to prepare the tissue for when you get to pushing. My number one step is for moms to not push until they get to their fully dilated state, so about 10 centimeters. And when you get to that point, make sure that you take your time pushing. You're going to labor for hours and you're kind of just in a sit back and experience the pain state. You're not really active in labor. Your body is doing everything. Your uterus, that big muscle, is contracting and it's doing all of the work and you're just having to cope with it. And then finally, you get to the second stage of labor and you're ready to push. You feel like you're ready to push and you get to be an active part of getting your baby into your arms faster. And that can be a good thing, but at the same time, it can cause moms to really stress pushing really hard, and we don't want you to do that. Pushing in and of itself is going to be a long process. For first-time moms, it could be 2.5 hours or more. For moms that have had multiple babies, multips is what we call them, even that can be an hour and a half or more. So pushing is a process, and I want you to think about taking your time. I said make sure that you're fully dilated, and I've had moms say, oh, but my doctor had me push before I was fully dilated. This is not recommended, and if you have a certain medical condition or it was unique to your situation, that, talk to your doctor about why that happened. But you want to make sure that your cervix is completely open, as big as it can get, so that your baby's head can successfully come out, and then the body as well. So we want to let the body prepare to get to that point. And if you push before you get to 10 centimeters, it can cause swelling of your cervix, and it actually could possibly make the tear worse or give you a tear that you were trying to prevent in the first place. So make sure you get to the point where you're listening to your body, and you are like, I'm not even trying to push, and my body this baby out. So I know that I'm fully dilated. If you're in the hospital and you have your cervix checked, the nurse will tell you, okay, you're fully dilated, you're ready to push. And then you say, okay, I'm going to push. I'm going to push effectively. I'm going to push with my contraction, and I'm going to breathe successfully through my contraction. Maybe you're going to pant. Maybe you're going to take deep breaths and blow out with your contraction, but it's going to be controlled. And then when your contraction is over, making sure that you're taking time to rest and relax, and make sure that blood supply is coming back to your tissue in your perineal area to make sure that that tissue has time to stretch and relax and get ready for the next push. And I want to emphasize here, a lot of moms feel like every contraction that comes, they have to push with that contraction because, again, we're excited to get our babies in our arms. But you do not have to push with every contraction. Like I said, this is a journey, it's a process, and you want to make sure that If you feel like, okay, I had a lot of pain in my perineal area with that last push, I think I was pushing my tissue too far, I was pushing it to the limits. I just need to take a break on this one. I need to allow blood supply to go back to my perineal area because with that push, you're cutting off some of that blood supply. Let's just take a break. I'm gonna breathe through this contraction and I'll pick up with the next one. Totally okay. So that is my step number one, slow, controlled contractions. Slow, controlled pushes with your contraction. And I also want to bring up a topic that has to do with natural childbirth versus getting an epidural. There is two different viewpoints. There's two different viewpoints on whether natural childbirth or an epidural is better when it comes to preventing tearing. And let's talk about natural childbirth first. So the thing with natural childbirth is you feel everything. Even when you get to that pushing point and even when that blood supply is cut off and so the pain is diminished a little bit, you still feel. And this is a really good thing because, like I said, when baby starts to crown and you start to feel that stinging, what a lot of moms call the ring of fire, you can say in your head, okay, we've talked about this. I need to take a break. That burning is my body telling me that that tissue is really starting to get to its max. I need to take a break. I need to hold on, not push through this contraction. And then your tissue can take a break and really get to the point where it can stretch better. Whereas epidurals, there are people that say, yeah, but with an epidural, you can't really feel anything. If your doctor is there and really monitoring you and helping you control the delivery of your baby, they can say, okay, hold on, your baby's starting to crown. You need to take a break on this one, allow your tissue to stretch a little bit. And if you have an epidural, you don't really feel anything. So you're like, okay, yeah, I'll just hang out here. I don't need to push. And so you allow the tissue to stretch. So like I said, two different viewpoints. There's really no definitive data on this at all to say one way or the other. But I know from my personal experience, I could start to feel the stinging. And so, knowing, okay, I shouldn't push through this contraction and I'll pick up on the next one. So you have to decide on your own which one you're gonna go with, what viewpoint you wanna take. Number two is position changes. This is probably my biggest and most important step to preventing or minimizing vaginal tearing. I'm going to show you a little bit of anatomy here. So if this is mom, I want to see if you can see this. So this is mom. She's pregnant with baby inside of her. Her bladder with her urethra is here. Her vagina is here. And her rectum is here. And that little bit of tissue, like I said, is in between the vagina and the rectum. Now, a lot of moms push laying down in bed. So the vagina is actually kind of pointing upwards. So mom is actually pushing out and up to get her baby out. And what this does is gravity starts to pull baby downwards towards the perineum and puts more pressure on that small amount of tissue. And so, of course, all that pressure, the tissue is probably going to tear. So what do? Well, we want mom not in a lying position, anything other than that position. Moms say, okay, but I want to be in bed because my doctor says it's safe for babies so that you don't drop baby on the floor. I totally get that. It's a concern. So if you want to be in bed, pushing on your side or using a birthing bar where you're in a squatting position on the bed so that gravity can help you. Use gravity. It is your friend here. Don't fight against it. So make sure that you're in an upright position of some sort, standing, squatting. Even hands and knees is a more natural position for the slant of the vagina. So any of those positions, like I said, lying on your side to push, but don't be on your back, please. It will help you so much, especially preventing those more severe tears, like those 3rd and 4th degrees, because like I said, pushing up and out is much harder. So you might get to the point where your baby's just not maneuvering down your birth canal and out of your vagina effectively. And the doctor might say, okay, we need to help you out here with forceps or vacuum. So getting up can help your baby maneuver correctly, and it helps you use gravity as your aid. Please, please, please don't be on your back. I know it's what is accepted as the standard, but you can say, no, my body's telling me I need to be in a different position. I need to change questions. Help me out with this, okay? And that's where a doula or a birth coach, somebody that can be by your side, giving you the strength to say, yes, I need to do something other than what the nurse and doctor are recommending, and they're gonna help me get in a different position. Definitely helpful there. And the last step I'm going to talk about is something that really comes up a lot as kind of controversial, does it really help or not? Perineal massage. So I do recommend perineal massage for moms in labor, especially between pushing. The question is, does it really help in pregnancy? And the research, it's a very small study that says, maybe perineal massage helps a little bit for moms in pregnancy, but it is not very strong data. But my viewpoint on it is that it doesn't harm mom. You are just doing something that maybe will help, and if it gives you just this confidence that I'm part of this, preparing my body for labor, I'm getting ready, I'm doing everything that I can, then go for it. Do it. Start bringing blood supply to that tissue and get that tissue very healthy. And so what do you do? How do you do perineal massage? Well, it can be a little bit tricky doing it yourself. So if your partner, your husband, is okay with it, then ask him to do it. You're going to use coconut oil or olive oil, some unscented oil, or even just like KY jelly, some sort of lube. Put it on your fingers, and you're going to put your index and second finger, or just your index finger, inside of your vagina at the bottom. So where that perineal tissue is between your vagina and your rectum. And your thumb's gonna stay on the outside. So you've got your oil, and you're just gently going to rub the inside bottom of that perineal tissue. You can do this in the shower if you want, where there's steam and moisture, warming up that tissue, bringing blood supply, and really helping that tissue be healthy. And so the other thing that you can do that kind of goes with this is warm compresses. So it's very similar to that massage, bringing blood and warmth to that area during your time between pushing. So you push and then your contraction's over and you take a rest, using a warm compress of some sort, something that you don't care that gets dirty or soiled and you can just throw away afterwards. Hot washcloths, definitely helpful. You can place on your perineal area. So the point of this is to bring blood supply to the tissue, to keep it healthy, to keep it strong, allow it to warm up and stretch more easily. So like I said, if it gives you a peace of mind, if it makes you feel like, yes, I'm a part of this, then go for it. Do that perineal massage, but especially do it between your pushes in labor. That's where I definitely recommend it. So these 3 steps, I hope that you start applying these. I hope they're really just kind of helping you mull over labor and what it's gonna be like. And just remember that your body is capable. You are strong. You were created to do this. You and your baby are going on this journey together. And you can do this, mama. I'm here. I am excited for you. I'm cheering you on. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section below. I want to answer your questions and your concerns. I want to help you get ready for birth. Like I said, I've got a workbook for you for natural birth, the steps that I recommend. It is my own personal process that's going to take you from planning all the way to your point of resolve that you know that you can do this. So download that workbook. Come and join me at Parently if you want to go on this journey together where I'm going to prepare you for your natural birth. I love to do that for mamas. So if you want to check out Parently.com, go for it. We can go on this journey together. I will talk to you again soon, mama. Have a good day.